Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Crypto Philanthropy, your guide to crypto-powered change. Nick Michalewski with the Giving Block here. Great to have everybody with us again this week. Really excited to welcome a couple of guests to the show today. I love these episodes because we talk to a nonprofit and a crypto community together doing some really great things. So without further ado, I have Shani Joe Darden, who is the founder of the Keep Abreast Foundation, and Jennings Main, who's community co-lead at Boobillions, a crypto native community. So really excited to have you both on the show, Shani Joe and Jennings. Welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited.
Excellent. And I guess to kind of, give everybody a little bit of a background, I mean, maybe starting with you, Shani Joe, tell us a little bit about Keep Abreast Foundation. You started the organization some years ago. What's it all about and how did it all begin?
Well, Keep Abreast is a nonprofit, and I started it 25 years ago. So last year we celebrated our big monumental anniversary, and my background is in the skateboarding industry. And a friend of mine who was an artist was diagnosed with breast cancer back 25 years ago. And so it was really just like shocking. Back then we had, since we're on the Giving Block, we didn't have tools like the Giving Block to raise money when friends, something happens that is tragic. So we started making these breast casts that you see behind me. I started making these plaster castings of women's breasts and doing exhibitions, and it just took off. So the very beginning was just supposed to be one show to help one person and raise money. And we've grown, and we're doing work really all over the world now, using technology to educate and teach people about prevention and early detection is our main goal.
I think it's so cool when some spark then ripples out into these bigger and bigger things and just turns into a whole movement. That's great. And I guess maybe I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but as this sort of ballooned out, how did you and Jennings, get introduced? What was the genesis of the partnership here? And maybe real quickly before we maybe get to the partnership, Jennings, maybe give us a little bit of an insight into the community that you're running at Boobillions first, and then we can kind of lead into how you guys found each other and how you teamed up.
Sure. Yeah. The Boobillions community is, really just a community of people that are investing in crypto projects that came together through memes and art to support, Shani's wonderful organization.
I love it. And what was the genesis of how you guys found each other? And did you guys find Shani? Was it the other way around? What was the first conversation when you guys first found each other?
Yeah. So it's kind of a complicated story. There was a group of us that you can call us internet friends that have been kind of hanging out in crypto for the last 4 or 5 years. And we saw a project that launched and it benefited Keep Abreast. And it was with the former creators, and they were doing some things that I don't appreciate within the crypto space, misleading and kind of trying to present things, especially to Shani, not as they were. And so a friend of mine, Fitzy, and I, we kind of hung out, kind of watched what was happening. And I believe he originally reached out to Shani, and we kind of scheduled a Zoom call. And from there, it just kind of happened organically. We just kind of brainstormed how we could kind of make this work and have a positive impact for her organization, but also like within the crypto space.
Got it. And what's sort of been, the involvement with the crypto community? I mean, you guys haven't raised an insignificant amount of money here that's going to support a fantastic cause. Shani Joe, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about the campaign, how cryptos fit into that, and how the Boobillions community and you have really partnered to drive some real impact here.
Yeah, well, so far it's only been a very short period of time, just a couple months. And, Jennings understands, he's worked with many nonprofits before, but we've raised $69,000 to date just from the fees from Pump Fund. So those fees are like tiny amounts, but they've added up quite quickly to a big sum of money. And for a nonprofit, it's not easy to raise, $69,000 in this way. So it's there's real impact in a short period of time, and that is exciting, and it also builds real community. So once this started to go, I reached out to you guys at the Giving Block, and I was like, hey, you guys, I need help. I need a custom page for this campaign. And so it's just been a really, really fun ride. And, like Jennings was saying, the art is just like so fun and cool, and it's so keep abreast, because keep abreast obviously is all about art. We use art to break taboos, to start conversations, to raise awareness, and it's the same thing. So it turned out to be, hooking up with Jennings and Fitzy turned out to be a really good partnership where they understood keep abreast and I understood their, crazy, wild, irreverent point of view that is sometimes, a bit over the top, but at the same time, the community has been really kind in relating it also to the cause.
Yeah, and I think it's nice, Jennings, to hear that you and your community have stepped in to steer people into a good lane, to do good things. So much of the crypto community is very generous and wanting to do something good, in this world, along with how crypto is starting to blossom into a pretty big movement. And so while that continues to grow and grow and grow, what are some ways that we can drive some real impact in the world? So it's always refreshing to hear organizations that are trying to link up with their communities and their charitable causes to to continue to do some good in the world. And Shane and Joe, you say on your website, like, early detection is so important. How are you guys doing that with art and awareness and what are the things that folks who maybe haven't come across Give a Breast Foundation should know about you guys?
Well, our biggest tool, and it's the thing that like we focus on and we love, we don't love the most, but it's our app. So we have an app that shows you how to do your self check. It's available in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, and French. And this app has probably about like 75,000 users all across the world. And it's incredible because it's a free tool that gives access. So access is a big word for us, and it's a big driving force around what we do. We want everyone around the world, young people, to have access to education and information that they may not have access to depending on where they live, what their community's like, what their background is. So this really gives people power in their own hands to know and learn about their breast health and early detection. So the app is super simple. It just shows you how to check yourself, and you could set up an automatic reminder once a month, because even I forget. So you should be checking your breasts once a month. And that's the whole thing. It's like they don't recommend mammography or doing these things until you're 45 or 50. But young women get breast cancer, so they need something. And this is really our answer and our solution to that.
Yeah, and carrying on that theme of awareness and building a community, Jennings, would love to hear maybe a little bit more on the background on Boobillions and how long you've been kind of in the crypto space. What can you tell us from the crypto side of things?
Yeah, well, I'll start. I've been in the crypto space, not as heavily as I am now, but since 2018, 2019, it kind of started with online poker back then, and I just kept piquing interest and getting more and more involved into different sides of things, NFTs, DeFi. I also have a nonprofit background. I've volunteered for many years since I was a kid, and then went on to serving on boards, and now I work for a nonprofit. But bigger than that, I think it's a huge opportunity, this project, and with Keep Abreast, to market charitable causes and nonprofits to a new audience, but also kind of turn the tide on the current narrative within crypto. Unfortunately, the negative things that happen in crypto often get the headlines. And so I think we have a really cool opportunity here to kind of flip the script on that.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the things that we love it's been central to our mission here at the Giving Block, is showing how crypto can be a real force for good in the world, minus, as exactly you said, Jennings, what you might see on the headlines, because not all bad news. And case in point of the thousands of great causes that we've been bringing closer into the crypto community. Anything, Jennings, do you think thinking downstream, plans for this partnership, or crypto philanthropy in general? Maybe even you sort of said in your background how you sort of wanted to help steer Shani Joe and her mission into sort of a better I guess setup. Any advice for nonprofits looking to engage either with just crypto donors themselves, or community projects like yourself?
Yeah, I think that there's like a misconception about crypto is from a nonprofit perspective, and I think a lot of nonprofits are afraid to kind of take the jump into that world and take some risk on. But my advice would be to do it, but manage your risk, And I think Shani and her organization have done a really great job of being transparent, and working with you guys makes that process so much easier. The Giving Block and how she's transferring it from her wallets and all of that sort of thing. But if you can educate yourself about what happens within the crypto space, there's no reason not to get involved. It's an entirely new revenue stream for nonprofits, and in the grand scheme of things is completely unexplored.
Yeah. And Shani Joe, as this has started to continue to blossom, and it's great to, also recognize, as you pointed out, I mean, it's been a couple months. This is just just started, but some real impact that's already been generated. And like you said, $69,000 is not an insignificant amount of money. And when you think about the kinds of things it allows you to do, if people have seen these episodes previously, I always keep harping on the drum that crypto donors are so mission driven, they're so mission oriented when they can see what fractional amount of cryptocurrency can provide. Talk a little bit about the programming that you guys offer, and and how this is translated into some significant impact. Because I think, if I remember looking on your website, even just sort of at the outset of providing basic screening information, like you said, access and awareness is so important. The amount of that's been donated could provide for quite a number of people to get access and further that mission. So I would love to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Boobillions team they have big goals to support Keep Abreast. So that is really exciting. And I think, also to what Jennings was saying, Keep Abreast wants to be like a good model for other nonprofits. So if we can help pave the way to shine a positive light on this project and this community, we want other nonprofits to be able to benefit. And initially, when we started the communication, with the Boobillions team, they were asking me, well, what's on the horizon? What can we be a part of? And so Keep Abreast has a project here. We're based in the California, in the Joshua Tree area, that we're building a wellness center. So we're working on this project that is going to be a place to serve survivors and their families from the time of diagnosis all the way through, to healing and doing, trauma work. But we're at a phase in the project where our next phase is submitting for a CUP application. So this first chunk of funds, this first goal that we're reaching, we're almost there, is $80K for us to be able to submit. So what we kind of did was we designed something, with Jennings and Fitzy and the team. So the whole Boobillions team could see in real life what their impact is making. So this first $80K, we're going to be able to submit some permits that this funding is going to really make possible. Then we're going to be able to have opportunities that could open up, to larger crypto donors, to be able to support this project, where they could name a building after, someone they love. The Boobillions team wants to name one of the buildings. So, we have some pretty big goals for this project. But it's really exciting because it's legacy, 10 years from now, this community could be like, wow, we built something, and the impact is still going. It's still alive. It's still making. So in 10 years from now, I'm going to be taking Jennings and the team to dinner or something, and seeing how far it can really go is a big deal.
Yeah, that's great. And we've seen the same kinds of projects come to fruition. We've seen schools built with crypto. We've seen all kinds of things that would not have even taken shape without, the rallying support of a community in the digital ecosystem, and just from everyday donors just having another asset that they can give that allows them to send their charitable impact much further than maybe their traditional cash ever could. Especially with
Absolutely.
younger donors just being so motivated, that's like, I actually could support a cause and
Yeah,
actually, not just, throw in, $10, $20 here or there, but I can actually significantly support this organization. And so that, we love seeing that. We love opening those doors. I guess Jennings, and I'm so to sort of start to wrap up this conversation, I'll go to you first. Anything that I haven't quite asked or covered, or is there anything you'd like, listeners at large just to know about Boobillions, the kind of work that you're doing, or just, again, something, generally about crypto philanthropy that you think is worth, people understanding?
Yeah, I'll touch on the Boobillions thing real quick. I think a lot of people see us in the community, talking about our token and things like that, but it's so much more than that. I think we scratched the surface on that a little bit in this conversation, but we are very hopeful. And I know Shane and we've talked about this, that while the fees generate, $69,000 is not a insignificant number, but the opportunity we have is to, through the token market, to these bigger exchanges or the crypto native community as a whole, to where hopefully they will just start donating directly to Keep Abreast. And I know we've had a handful of those come in, but we've barely scratched the surface on that. And so I know that's something that Fitzy and I and the team are really excited to kind of start diving into as we establish ourselves within crypto.
Love it. And Shaney Joe, same question over to you.
yeah. I mean, I think something that you mentioned is that this is a young donor, and it's mostly like a male community. And so one of the things that's been exciting to me is talking to these guys about breast health. Like getting them to have these conversations, with their partners, with their family members, with their sisters, with their aunties. So not only can we make an impact, financially for the future of Keep Abreast, but also educating a whole new audience on this topic. And a lot of these young donors know Keep Abreast, because of our I Love Boobies bracelets. Every millennial knows Keep Abreast because of I Love Boobies. So it's also this like, they see, oh, there's this like lady doing this nonprofit, but then they realize, oh, they're the ones who created I Love Boobies. So they already have an emotional connection to us from when they were a teenager, that they're kind of already connected to us in their life already for probably 10, 15 years. So now bringing this project around in, not that I would say an adult way, but it's where we are already part of their lives. So they can continue to support Keep Abreast, even though maybe they bought a bracelet, we have a new audience buying them, and we're on the Warp Tour this year. So I think I'm just really excited to see where it's going to go, and I'm grateful to have the support of the Giving Block and the whole Boobillions community. And we have some cool projects in the works. We're working on an I Love Boobillions bracelet and a little boob plushie doll. So we're working on and some cool products that are very Keep Abreast, but also in collaboration with Boobillions. So I think we'll probably be talking to you again next year and on this podcast and having some exciting updates.
Fantastic. We would love that. And it's really encouraging to see this start to take shape before our eyes. I have no doubt that it's going to lead to some great things. And I think it just, is showcasing more and more just the power of internet memes to really drive some meaningful impact for the other nonprofits out there, don't sleep on the memes. They can actually do some real good for your organizations. So this was a great, I think, introduction into that, to at least just make people aware that, hey, these communities are out there. They exist. They're doing some really good things. There's a lot of interesting new conversations it can open up for conversations with your donors and fundraising opportunities, and leading into a lot of really, really interesting possibilities, and just how the nature of philanthropy is changing a little bit. So this, I think, was a great episode for folks to at least get a little bit of an awareness. We'll put all the relevant links in the show notes for people to learn more about Boobillions and about Keep Abreast. But Jennings, if people wanted to learn a little bit more about you guys, where should they go?
X, or formerly Twitter, is the best place, at Boobillions. And I'm sure you can also visit Keep Abreast X as well, and she's always reposting our stuff. So that's the easiest place.
Perfect. Yeah. And Shane Joe, how can they learn about you guys?
Website. So boobillions.com. It's a super cute website, but they have different tools that show you in real time how much we are also fundraising. So it's a great place to, like, if you check the website regularly, you can see the ticker of the funds.
That's a great point that you raised, Shane Joe, that, again, you can see this transparently right there in real time. And that's one of the, I guess, the cool things about, crypto philanthropy in general, is that some organizations do some really, really cool things around transparency and where these funds are going, what they're funding. Everybody can see it all in real time. It's all out there, fully auditable, fully trackable. Super cool that you guys also have that element there as well. Well, with that, Shani Joe, Jennings, thanks so much for being on the episode today. Like I said, we'll have everything everybody needs to learn more about what you guys are doing. We're really excited to see what comes out of this partnership. And with that, everybody else, we'll see you next time.